Hey guys, I have not posted a single thing on this YouTube channel in over a decade, but today that is changing because I am going to be trying to create a movie during the Oscars. It's a challenge by Joel Haver. If you haven't heard of him, make sure to check him out. He is an incredible creator and is actually now doing like full movies. He's trying to do one every month for the entire year, which is really cool. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never really made anything you would consider a movie before, but I thought, why not? I'll give it a shot. Now, be aware this stream is probably going to freeze and crash at some point, but because my computer's not set up for streaming. Believe me, it's barely set up for doing anything, to be honest, at this point. But I thought I'm going to try it, and most people who do this, they try to do it with a bit of an audience, and I don't want to do it alone. So um, I'll give it a shot, and we'll see what happens. Worst case scenario, it's horrible. Oscar starts in 7 minutes. I need a bit of a costume change, so I'll be right back. Okay, so in case you're wondering, hey, what are you going to be making a movie about for 30 or for 3 hours? Well, man, this chair is low. The answer is this is going to be sort of a documentary type thing. I want to talk about my journey with writing and how horribly it's gone in the past. Uh, Realizing I probably need a little bit of cleanup. Just what the camera can see, of course. Don't want to actually get clean. That would be crazy. Um, okay. So what equipment will I be rocking while I do this? Well, got myself a tripod and I have a microphone hooked up, although I don't know if it's going to work while I'm doing this stream, so let's find out. Honestly, I don't know how any of this is going to work. And I've got 5 minutes to figure it out. And the whole thing is going to be totally slapdash. About 3 hours to make it. And then I have a week to edit, and it probably won't come together. But, we'll find out, right? Okay, this needs to be, the volume I think needs to be a little bit higher, and the setting is still on Omni, which is good. So I'm going to scoot all the way back here because I think this is where I'm going to do most of my talking. Might want to get that piano out of the way. And let's check if that recorded. Looks like it did. Together. But, we'll find out, right? Okay, this needs to be, the volume I think needs to be a little bit higher, and the setting is still on Omni, which is good. So I'm going to scoot all the way back here because I think this is where I'm going to do most of my talking. Might want to get that piano out of the way. And let's check if that recorded. It did not record very well, I don't think. So I might need to sit a little closer or move the microphone closer. 4 minutes to figure it out. And what camera, you ask, will I be recording this on? The answer is my trusty flip camera, which I have not used in a while, to say the least. Okay, so it looks like I may need to get rid of a couple of files. Nope. So I can delete that. What is this? This, I think. Oh, I think I know what this is. What on earth? Why have I saved this for so long? I really wish I had that ring light right now. Oh, well. Oh, what? Wrong thing. Wrong thing to... Forgot about that. Okay. Oi! I think this is my prank video. Nope. Don't need that. Man, I just love this stream of 0 people. Can delete this safely. Should have deleted all of this earlier. Nope. Yeah, most of these I'm just going to delete. I can't believe I haven't done it yet. There are 20 videos on here, and I don't use them. What is this?
Hello, YouTube. Mr. Evans here with another vlog. First vlog in a long time, but to be fair, the last vlog I made was the last time I taught in this room. I have been back one time since.
Wow. I can get rid of it though. Don't need the raw footage really. Aww.
I wasn't careful with the carpet tree. Barbie. Bean, stay here.
Delete that. My flip camera, of course, is an HD. What is this?
Hey, Merry Christmas, everyone. This is the first video on this flip camera.
God. Okay. An hour left. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That should be good. I only need to capture 40 minutes of footage, really. All right, it's 4 o'clock. Time to make this thing happen. We're just going to give it a quick little test. Make sure that I look good. From where I currently am, I do not look good. Okay. How about this? Is this okay? I think this is going to be okay.
How about this? Is this okay?
Yes, that was okay. Not great, but okay. All right, let's get the camera on. Of course, I'm realizing now I can probably use footage of this live stream as well, to be honest. Okay, I'd love to get that piano out of the way, but I don't think it can be done. I think we're stuck with it. You don't want to jump on my desk. You don't need to see a Dune popcorn bucket. Okay. Someone calling me outside? No, you're just crazy. Okay. Alexa, turn following off.
Following is now off the rest of this activity.
Okay, but you're still facing it. Alright, I guess what we're going to do is just jump right in. Okay. Let's start with the poem, the potatoes poem. Oh, you turned off. Where'd you do that? Okay, here we go. Maybe if I move this over here. Is that too much in the shot? It probably is. Well, one way to check, right? One way to find out if it's too much in the shot. Okay, we're doing it. Backing up. And okay, it's now in my lap. We'll see if it's too much. Actually, you know what? I think it'd probably be okay right there. We'll see if that's in the shot. And then we'll try recording it to see if it even sounds any good. I am recording now, and I'm at a good distance, and okay, good. Okay, let's see. Yeah, but my head's cut off. I was at a good distance. I like that. Oops. Any good? I am recording now, and I'm at a good distance, and okay, good. Okay, I do like that. Do like that. We will delete. Okay. Much better. Much, much, much better. Although it does need to be more towards the middle. Still not great. There we go. That's it. That's it. That's it. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, good. Scene one, take one. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests, snug as a gun. Under my window, a clean rasping sound when the spade sinks into the gravelly ground. My father digging. I look down. Till his straining rump among a flower. Between my finger and my thumb, the pen rests. Oh, goodness. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests, snug as a gun. Under my window, a clean rasping sound when the spade sinks into the gravelly ground. My father digging. I look down. Till his straining rump among the flower beds bends low, comes up 20 years away, stooping in rhythm through potato drills where he was digging. The coarse boot nestled on the lug, the shaft against the inside knee was levered firmly. He rooted out tall tops, buried the bright edge deep to scatter new potatoes that we picked, loving their cool hardness in our hands. By God, the old man could handle a spade, just like his old man. My grandfather cut more turf in a day than any other man on Toner's Bog. Once I carried him in a bottle. What? Once I carried him milk in a bottle, corked sloppily with paper. He straightened up to drink it, then fell to right away, nicking and slicing neatly, heaving sods over his shoulders, going down and down for the good turf, digging. The cold smell of potato mold, the squelch and slap of soggy peat, the curt cuts of an edge through living roots awaken in my head, but I've no spade to follow men like them. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests. I'll dig with it. In this poem, Digging by Seamus Heaney, Heaney compares writing to digging potatoes like his father. When I was in poetry class in college, I tried to write a poem that was similar to this one, but used sewing as a metaphor. Now, I didn't save that poem, so I can't read it to you. And the reason I didn't save it is that it was very bad. And maybe I should put that on mute. Now, I didn't save that poem, so I can't read it to you. And the reason I didn't save it is that it was very, very bad. And I fully recognize the irony of trying to write a poem about how writing is super hard. No, I didn't save that poem, so I can't share it with you. And, okay. Now, I can't share that poem with you because I didn't save it. And the reason I didn't save it is that it was very bad. I fully recognize the irony of a poem about how hard writing is. No. I can't share that poem with you because I didn't save it. And the reason I didn't save it is that it was very bad. I fully recognize the irony of a poem about how my writing always turns out bad, turning out bad. But it's not unique. That's how writing always goes for me. Okay, not bad. There we go. We'll export that as scene one, take one. Better create a new thing. Okay, there you go. Let's see, do I have anybody watching on my channel? I kind of hope not. Oh, good, I don't. Hello, empty world. Okay, so what was next? The goal at this point was to kind of the inspiration. Memories about writing as a boy. Hmm. I'll capture some B-reel later. Okay, so at this point there's like a little click, and we're recording. This is scene 2. Okay, let's okay that. Some of my earliest memories are of me writing. Before I was even old enough to start school, my mom handed me a typewriter. Well, some of my earliest memories are of writing. When I was just a kid, too young to even start school, my mom gave me a typewriter. Well, she didn't give it to me, but she would let me borrow it. And I have these really vivid memories of me just lying on the floor with this typewriter and just typing. And I can't really remember the substance of what I typed, more of the feeling. There was never really any blockage. It was just these words would kind of come into my head and they would flow out through my fingers and my fingers would type and I would listen to that click-clack sound as the words were appearing, and it just felt so effortless. And when I look back on some of the poems, some of them are actually not too bad for a little kid. My mom saved them in a file, so even though I don't remember writing them, I do remember some of them. Going back and reading some of them later. My favorite one, I don't remember the title, but it was a little limerick, and it went like this: There once was a dog named other way around. There once was a flea named Chase, who lived on a dog named Lace. But Lace always scratched when Chase's eggs hatched, so Chase slapped Lace in the face. I don't know how that came to me. What? Hello. I don't really know how that came to me as a kid. I don't think I had any particular preoccupation with fleas on dogs, and I definitely don't know how the image of a flea jumping off of a dog and slapping it in the face popped into my mind. But it was there, so clearly I was able to do it. And to be honest, that's what a lot of my earliest writing memories felt like. Effortless. Writing was just an important part of my expression. It wasn't something I worked for. It was just something that I did. I did it as easily as breathing. And I miss when it felt like that. I think here I'm going to put a picture of me in a Mall and the Night Visitors. I used to be in little plays and stuff when I was in school. And one play that I was in was with my local community theater. And I played Amal in Amal and the Night Visitors, which was a lot of fun. And I remember my mom wanted me to do a writing exercise to help me get into character. She kind of she said, "Hey, there's this part." So when I was in school, I used to do these little plays, school plays and stuff. But my local community theater, which was attached to the church that was attached to the school where I went, they would put on shows too. And I wasn't in most of them, but I did somehow manage to land the role of Amal in Amal and the Night Visitors. If you haven't seen it, it's about a shepherd and his mom who are one day visited by the three kings on their way to visit Jesus. And there's this part where Amal is talking to the shepherds. There's this part where Amal is talking to one of the kings about, his life and the things that have happened to him. And he mentions that he had there's this part where Amal is talking to the kings, one of the kings, about how his life is as a shepherd. And one of the things he mentions is that he once owned a sheep, and he loved the sheep so much, and he just really felt attached to it, and then it died of old age. And my mom wanted me to really feel that moment, really get into character. And so she asked me to write a short paragraph, a short little monologue, not that I would recite it or anything, but a short little piece about owning the sheep and about the day that it died and how sad I felt. And the idea was that it would bring that moment to life for me. And so I did write it. But what I don't think she realized was that at that time in my life, I didn't need to understand the character. I didn't need to feel what the character was feeling in order to produce this writing. Just the sentences came into my head. I thought, okay, this is what should come next, and I typed it. And at no point did I ever have to connect with what I was saying. Like I said, the words just kind of flowed out of me. And it wasn't that there was no feeling behind them. It was that inspiration wasn't necessary. writing was just something that I could do. I didn't need to be in the mood. I didn't need to have the muses come and visit me. All I needed was a paper, pencil, and time. And I could write. What's the next story? For a long time, that's really what writing was to me. It was this sort of creative expression. It wasn't work. It wasn't creating a product. It was just something that I could do and did do and enjoyed doing. And I'll never forget one moment when that started to change. It was when I was in fourth grade and we had to do an assignment called Adam the Apple. The idea was we were going to bring an apple into school, we were going to draw the apple, and then we were going to write a story about the apple. And something in my little fourth grade brain just said, I'm going to write the best story that I've ever written. This time I actually am going to be inspired. I'm going to take everything I've learned from reading, I'm going to take everything I've learned from writing in the past, and I am going to make such a good story. And so I sat down, I imagined, we did it. We did an outline, and I really, I don't think I really put too much into the outline. But after the outline came out, and I looked at it, and I was like, you know what, this is actually really good. If I write well, if I try hard, this is going to be a great story. And so I took my paper, and I took my pencil, and I started writing. And I was so proud of what I was writing. I was using dialogue for the first time, at least as far as I can remember. I was being descriptive. I was doing everything I could to make this story feel just like the ones that I was reading. I was actually so proud of myself that I had a little bit of space on the last page, which, by the way, I didn't really write more than a page at that time. So the fact that I even spilled over into additional pages was really meaningful for me. And so I had a little bit of extra space, and I drew a picture of an apple, and I was like, I know that the picture is not going to be very good. I'm not that great of an artist, but it doesn't matter. I just need this story to be legitimate. And so I finished my. You guys hear that? That is annoying. I'm just going to power through it. Sorry, you're just going to have to deal. So I finished the story, I finished the drawing, all written by hand. My fingers were aching after days of writing this story, and I actually was so proud of myself because I finished it early. I had like a week to do this, and I did it before the deadline. And I brought it to my teacher, and I handed it to her, and I said, I finished early, and I'm turning it in now. And she looked at it, and she went, you didn't do this in paragraphs. You need to redo this. Remember that it had been written by hand, so that meant I had to start all over. And something really broke in me when that happened, because I realized I had thrown effort into this, which, bear in mind, at that time was not something I needed to do. I could write just fine without really trying too hard, but this one I had tried. This one I had cared about, and the fact that it wasn't formatted correctly was enough to deem it not worthy. And it wasn't that it hurt or that I felt the teacher wasn't respecting me. It was that I realized for the first time that writing wasn't as straightforward as I thought it was. That there were different types of writing. that there were different things that readers were looking for. And although I had produced something great for myself, I hadn't produced the right thing. And I think it really hurt to realize that this part of myself that I'd always considered strong just wasn't good enough anymore. I rewrote the story. It was not the same. I did not put as much effort into it because I rewrote the story. It wasn't the same. I changed a lot of stuff about it so that I didn't really have to write as much, because it occurred to me that I could throw tons of effort and creativity into it again, but that wasn't what the teacher was looking for anyways. She was looking for paragraphs. So that's what I gave her. And yeah, I don't think it really slowed me down or changed my perception of myself as a writer. It was more like it just made me realize that I was going to have to pay closer attention, that I was going to have to work harder at learning this other type of writing. This little part of me that had produced that piece, that didn't go anywhere. That was still very much there. My creative spark was still very much there. But after that moment, I realized that I wasn't going to be able to use it anymore. I think the next time that I really got a chance to dive into the creative side was in this poetry unit that I had in high school. And I'll be honest, I was really excited about that poetry unit for all the wrong reasons. Um, it 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 wasn't that I really enjoyed writing poetry. It was that I still believed I could do it. I still believe that it was just this thing that I was just so good at, that that creative spark in me hadn't gone anywhere. And for once, I wouldn't have to write and then constantly guess whether or not I had produced what the teacher wanted, because I knew I could do it. And so I produced all of these poems for the teacher. I did pretty well in that unit, and I saved the poems in a folder. Um, Few years after I graduated from high school, I went and I looked back at that portfolio. I was going through a tough time in my life, and I realized, I think I would just want to go back and look at this time that I was really inspired, that I could produce writing so easily. And I went back and I read those poems, and they sucked. there's there's no nice way of saying it. It wasn't that I was a really good writer, it was that I didn't know what good writing was. I just knew it was easy for me. I knew that I could do it effortlessly, and so I felt good doing it. And so I assumed that it was good, but looking back at it, it wasn't. I often tell people I was such a good writer in high school, but then this disaster struck. Somebody broke into my home, stole all of my really brilliant poems, and replaced them with really stupid ones. The first time I told someone that story, she actually said, uh, the first time I told someone that joke, she actually said, "No way! I actually got hit by the same guy. We gotta find this guy." Uh, it's unfortunate that a lot of people are having this experience, but it doesn't change. It doesn't change that sinking feeling that I had. The realization that this creative spark I had was, it wasn't creativity, it was just me not knowing what creativity was. I remember the first time that it really hit me, that I wasn't quite as I remember the first time that I actually bumped into a bit of a wall with my writing. It was when I was in high school, but it was not during the poetry unit. It was after the poetry unit. I think it was actually the year after. And I had a friend who was making a movie. And there was part of this movie where his character had to deliver this big, powerful monologue. It was the movie he was doing was a sequel, and in the I need to name him. I remember the first time I hit a brick wall and I realized what true writer's block felt like. It was when I was in high school, but it was not the same time as I was doing that poetry unit. During that poetry unit, I still thought the creative spark was strong. I still thought that my inspiration would never dry up. But the following year, uh, I had a friend. His name was Antoine. He's actually huge on YouTube now. So you should make sure to check his channel out. He's awesome. But when I knew him, we were just a couple of high school kids, and he was making movies. He actually made a lightsaber battle with his friend, and it was really cool. It was really, really good. And then he set out to make a sequel. And one of the first things that he did for this sequel was he had sort of what you might call the villain of the piece deliver this monologue about him thinking about the first movie and wondering, how did this other guy beat me in the first movie? And he showed the monologue to me. That was one of the first things he'd done. He showed it to me and he said, hey, I did it. And I, not really understanding what was about to happen, said, hey, I have a very creative mind. You hand it to me. I'm going to rewrite it. And I'm going to make this monologue everything that you need it to be. And so he handed it to me, and ideas were popping into my brain about how great I was going to make this monologue. And I took it, and I took my paper and pencil, and I set pencil to paper. And for the first time ever, nothing came out. I realized that whatever part of myself I had reached into to create writing wasn't accessible. And that feeling of blockage, that feeling of not being able to reach what I needed to reach, was one that I would become very familiar with in future years. Man, this is harder than I thought it would be. Still no viewers. Thank goodness. Don't need them to see this train wreck. Let me turn this off. Oh, this was all scene 2. Man, that was like 20 minutes. Yeesh! Export as MP3. I should be exporting it as a WAV. Wave. Scene 2. Oh, well, it's probably fine. Hmm. There we go. Hmm. We can try this one. We'll try one more time, which is right now. This one won't be real. Yep, didn't think so. Stream the Oscars, not even because I care about them, but because I need to know when they end. And how much longer I have left. No. Okay. So then that's fine. Can I pin? Nope. It's supposed to just be recording the entire time, but I can't do that. My camera's gonna die. Maybe I can at least get a clip of me with a typewriter. I don't have a typewriter though. I can pretend I have a typewriter. I can pretend I have a typewriter. Where's my stream? There it is. Hi. Oh, I have a viewer. Hello, viewer. I'm trying to make a movie during the Oscars for Joel Haver. This is probably not going to turn out well, but just in case you're wondering, the movie is about me writing. Now I have to film a clip of me pretending to type something on the carpet because I don't have a typewriter, which is what I actually need. That's no good. Come on. No, I gotta do a video anyways. I can't see the carpet in that shot. There we go, that's better. Except that doesn't work because now the chair leg is in the way. Okay, so I just need to prop that up and then we'll be okay. Okay. I don't think anyone's gonna watch this stream, so I probably won't save it. But you know, maybe I will. Ouch. Let's try it. You know, we don't have to use it if you don't like it. My phone is on? That's weird. Why did my phone turn on? It's not on. It's on. Okay. That's that. I think what I'm going to do next, actually, is draw the drawings from, because I want to do that little limerick. I want it to actually be an actual, like, thing. Let's see if we can't do that. We better open this up first. Okay, All right. Let me grab a couple of these. Okay, I don't know if I still have anything in me, but I'm gonna try. Let's see. There once was a flea. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a flea named Chase. I don't know how to do a dog. Draw a dog. Oh, yeah. This is good. This is good. This is what I want. Okay, yes, perfect. Yes, we're going to do this. Yes, good. Okay, so right now I've drawn my little flea, and then that's was going to be the dog, but big X through that because it's no good. We don't like that. Now we're going to draw a dog based on this tutorial. I wish I could show you my screen, but like I said, I'm not actually set up for streaming. Okay. Oop. Big old face. I guess in case you're wondering what I'm actually drawing, I could probably just paste it in my chat. That's what I'm using. Okay. And then we go draw the body. Too big. And draw the ears coming down. No good. Draw a little nose. A little flat nose. Further down, we're going to go smile. And then we're going to do a little tail. A couple of little eyes for the little doggy. And then we're going to do some stick figure legs. Whee! Whee! Oh, hello. My air thing is going off again. Okay. Much better, doggo. Let's draw the little flea. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's always scratched. Drawing of a dog scratching. And I do like that actually. There we go. That's a dog that looks like he's about to itch. There we go. We can do like a little, oh, I know. Yeah. We'll do like a little, it's supposed to be pretty cartoony, so it shouldn't really be much of an issue. Ooh, no good. That's no good. Man, I'm wasting my time. The nose is back, but he's still frowning because now he's getting shot. Poor dog. Am I still being watched? I'm not. Good. Tail should be down. Perfect. All right, now all we got to do is photograph that. May have to just lower my light a bit. There once was a flea named Chase. Oh, brother. Maybe I better just photograph the whole thing. There once was a flea named Chase, who lived on a dog named Lace. Oops, but Chase always scratched when Lace's eggs hatched. So Chase slapped Lace in the face. There we go. But Lace always scratched when Chase's eggs hatched, so Chase slapped Lace in the face. We'll do like an AI recording of that later on. Well, in fact, I'll do it right now. And who's British? No. No. Maybe? That's the one. And go. No. Generate. Really? There we go. Good. Now we can download that. Try one more time. Perfect. That's the one. Okay. Now let's go in here. And we will just delete the one we don't want anymore. Okay. Very nice, very nice. That was 11 labs, by the way. Man, it's already been an hour. Okay. The Oscars are still going. They're going to go for like another 3 hours. Okay. So we've taken the photos. That. And then have some time to edit that as well. Okay, let's see. Bad poem. The memories, writing poems as a kid, writing for Amal. There's no way that that's still around. Adam the apple, pick of me holding an apple. There's no way. Poetry unit in high school. I wish I still had those poems so I could read them, but I don't. Start with Bird by Bird. Gotcha. Okay. Now we get to go into productivity. Find Bird by Bird. Shoot. Um, have a choice. Ah, here we go. Okay. I think it's time to try to resume filming. Let's see if I have enough battery. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go into DCIM. We're going to open up videos. We're going to create a new one that's going to be called new folder, and it's going to be called Joel Haver Movie. And we're going to go into Control N, We're going to go into flip video and we're going to remove the video, or we're going to transfer the videos, these two videos. Oh no, I've made a mistake. There we go. It's going to take a hot second. So I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Okay. We're going to see what we can do. While that's recording, I'm wondering if I could just grab a little screencast of me typing. Word. Okay, let's see if I can't get a screen grab. I need it to be bigger. I want this to be a serif font. Maybe Times New Roman, maybe something else. What about Jumble? That looks really good. No, Times New Roman. It should be something recognizable. Perfect. Yes, that'll be it. Oh, I know what to do. We're going to go into Canva. We're going to see if we can't use Canva. Okay. Screen only. Entire screen, please. Share. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, recording here. Just click to Microsoft Word. We'll hide that, and then we're just going to type T, T, T. Okay, sure, we can use that. Stop. Okay, so we recorded that. Good, perfect, excellent. That is now saved in the system. We can close it down and download it later. We don't need to do it right now. Okay. No, we will. Oh, I didn't stop it. Whoops. Export as MP3. And title it Okay, so that's enough of that. Now we close her down. We do need to look up who wrote Bird by Bird. Bird by Bird by, it's like Robin Lee. Okay, Anne Lamott. Okay. Oh, whoops, I gotta eject the thing twice. Okay, so now that they've been transferred, we can probably delete them. Let's just be sure that they actually did transfer over first.
And we're recording this as scene 2. Writing wasn't accessible.
Yes. Eject. All right. Let's see here. Let's turn you on. Very good. Yes. Okay. Audio, video. Now we're going to talk about Bird by Bird. Yeah, it's recording. Let's just be sure that we're framed correctly. Yeah, framed correctly. We're framed up nice and well. Okay. People tend to look at successful writers who are getting their books published and maybe even doing well financially, and think that they sit down at their desks every morning feeling like $1 million, feeling great about who they are and how much talent they have and what a great story they have to tell. That they take in a few deep breaths. People tend to look at successful writers who are getting their books published and maybe even doing well financially, and think that they sit down at their desks every morning feeling like $1 million, feeling great about who they are and how much talent they have and what a great story they have to tell. That they take in a few deep breaths, push back their sleeves, roll their necks a few times to get all the cricks out, and dive in, typing fully formed passages as fast as a court reporter. But this is just a fantasy of the uninitiated. Very few writers really know what they're doing until they've done it. Nor do they go about their business feeling dewy and thrilled. They do not type a few stiff warm-up sentences and then find themselves bounding along like huskies across the snow. One writer I know tells me that he sits down every morning and says to himself nicely, "It's not like you don't have a choice, because you do. You can either type or kill yourself." We all often feel like we're pulling teeth, even those writers whose prose ends up being the most natural and fluid. The right words and sentences just do not come pouring out like ticker tape most of the time. I can relate. There was an episode of Daredevil that was released. That's completely unfair. There was this one episode of the show Daredevil where the writer, the journalist in the show, sits down to start his article, and he writes exactly the way that these imaginary writers who type fully formed sentences write. There was a time at which I would have thought it should be that easy for me, but now I know it's not. It's never that easy. There's a much better depiction of what writing is actually like at the beginning of this movie with Frank Langella. I need to know the name of the movie. Okay, let me find out what it is. Frank Langella writer movie.
Frank Langella is credited in more than 60 movies.
What? No.
Here are the first three. Dracula, Masters of the
No,
Universe,
no, 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 no. Movie where Frank Langella plays a writer.
Starting out in the evening.
That's not it.
Starting out in the evening. Capturing Thought. Brian Morton, the author of the novel on which the movie is based, was originally a bit apprehensive about the charismatic Langella being cast as a solitary showman.
There's a much better depiction of what writing is actually like at the beginning of the movie, Starting Out in the Evening, starring Frank Langella. One of the first shots you see is of a blinking cursor on a blank page. I am all too familiar with blinking cursors. I am all too familiar with what it feels like to stare at that blinking cursor. To look at that blank page and realize I have to type something or nothing will be written. And still not knowing where to begin. Not seeing how this big, empty chasm, completely devoid of words, is eventually going to turn into a story that was actually worth telling. The gap between blank page to first sentence is massive. Because leaping over that gap means the difference between not having started a story or not having finished a story. Okay. The difference between blank page and first sentence is a massive one, in my opinion. Because if I don't start the story, I can't fail to finish it. I can't create a bad story if I don't try. And for some reason, it just seems like that feels better. It should feel worse. It should feel like, well, at least I tried. But for some reason, it feels worse to have made an attempt at something that you couldn't see through to completion. It's so much easier to just not invest any time or effort into this project, because putting down that first sentence means this is real. You have to do this. You have to try. And if you find that your inspiration dries up and you have to walk away, that's just one more project that didn't pan out. One more piece of evidence that you can't do it. And so having that idea in your head and then looking at that blank page and realizing you have to start somewhere, this has to stop being an idea if you want it to exist. That's a big gap to leap over. It's such a big gap to leap over that it honestly sometimes feels like nobody should be able to do it. And yet people have. Books get written, stories get told. And I would know because my sister was one of the people that made that loop. My sister wrote a book. I'm not going to share any details about it because she's still trying to get it published. And I have actually not read it because I believe that she will get it published, and I want to read it then when it does come out. But I'm not sure how it happened. Someone so close to me, someone born to the same parents as me, my blood relative, leaped over one of the biggest cognitive gaps in the world. She went from blank page to finished story, not just first sentence, finished story. So why can't I? It's not like I haven't tried. And then this is where I want to do something with that. Oh, I have to actually name who that was. So that's a passage that comes from the book Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. And I think it really speaks to how it feels trying to write. The words don't just go from your head to the page. It's a process. And the first step of that process, investing enough time and effort into creating a piece of writing, no matter how bad it is, that you can work on it in the future, man, that's a hard first step. Yeah, okay, I think that that's good. I don't know what else I want to say about that, so I think I'm just going to move on for now. I already know the ending is the part. Somebody actually jumped in and said something. Hey, Robin, good to see you. We'll say scene 1. We'll say scene 2. And then we'll drag that right on over. Okay, let's see if anybody is on the stream right now. Oh, there is. Hey. Oh, they're gone. It's okay. It's a pretty boring stream anyway. I don't blame you. Got an hour and a half to shoot more footage. Only has to be 40 minutes though. Doesn't have to be a full hour. Oh, honestly, I've been talking for so long that I don't. Maybe it will be a full hour. I don't know. Oh, I need to get my my attempts ready to show off. Oh, and I gotta get my poetry journal ready too. Where is it? No, December 2008. This was just after I graduated from high school that I read that. Okay, food story, Spain story, poetry classes. Okay, let's see if everything has transferred over. Okay, so that's saved. No need to worry about it anymore. Let's rename this one to scene 3, take 1. And then we'll delete it from here. Yes, I want to delete it because I have a copy of it. Video
The novel on which the
passage that comes from the book Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. And I think it really speaks to how it feels trying to write. The words don't just go from your head to the page. It's a process. And the first step of that process, investing enough time and effort into creating a piece of writing, no matter how bad it is, that you can work on it in the future, man, that's a hard first step. Okay. Battery is very, very low. Battery is very low indeed. Okay, audio track, video track, backing up, we are now good. You remember that it was in high school, actually my last year of high school, that I had the realization that I really wasn't as good at writing as I thought I was. And yet, one of my earliest attempts to really create something that I was proud of happened shortly after I graduated from high school. I was going through, I need to put this thing back on. I was going through a tough time. I don't want to get into it right now because that could lead to. I was going through a tough time. I don't want to get into the reasons right now because that could be a whole separate movie on its own. But I just had a lot of emotions kind of roiling around inside of me. And I remember it was actually on a trip to Michigan, to my grandmother's house, that I felt this weird inspiration. It wasn't like anything I had really dealt with before. It just kind of happened. I didn't ask for it. I didn't try to draw on it. It just happened. As I was laying in bed at 1 in the morning, thinking about everything that had been going on in my life, the ideas started to form themselves into words. And the words started to form themselves into lines. And I realized this is a poem that wants to come out of me right now. I literally can't sleep because this poem won't stop going through my head. And I wrote it down, and I was really proud of it, to the point where one day our family went to the mall, still while we were visiting Michigan, and I picked up a journal, and I wrote down my poem. I could have sent you happiness and made your tears run dry. I could have sent you joy and love each time I saw you cry. I could have spoken words of hope each time the world seemed black, and when your thoughts were thoughts of fear, I could have turned them back. I could have given you my heart to hold between your hands. I could have kneeled before you so you'd have a place to stand. And all those times you pushed me back, I could have pulled you in. And all the times my gestures failed, I could have tried again. And every time you broke my heart, I thought it couldn't mend. I could have picked the pieces up and started in again. I could have suffered all the pain and hurt you through it me, and been with you instead of where you told me I should be. I could have given you my life. Was that my duty too? I could have taken all I had and given it to you. I could have sent you everything to try to make you smile and sigh and frown and say to me it lasted for a while. And when you finally shattered me and broke my very soul, I could have left the pieces so that maybe you'd feel whole. I could have lived your life for you in hopes that you would stay. But I've got my own life to live, and yours you gave away. It's not really the quality of this poem that I was proud of. I think it was more the fact that I now knew that little spark of inspiration, that spark that I had thought was either gone or maybe still there but not of any use anymore. It was still at work inside of me. But I couldn't make it come out anymore. I think that's the reason that I gravitated towards poetry a bit, because it's just a short few lines and then you're done. The idea of trying to keep the inspiration, of trying to keep the spark with me through an entire story or book or novel, I guess book and novel are the same thing, but you know what I mean. It it just didn't feel like it was something I could do. There was no way I was going to keep that inspiration for that long, because it only showed up when it wanted to. I couldn't force it anymore. Writing wasn't like breathing the way that it used to be. Writing was something that I did when I guess the universe decided that it was time. And I tried many times to make it happen. One time inspiration struck me was when I was in Spain for a month studying Spanish. I had bought this notebook for my Spanish exercises. They're still very much there. I don't know if you can see that. But one night I had a dream that, for some reason, just felt like maybe it would be a really good story. It was a story about this kid, or these two kids, who one of them, the little brother, is going off and visiting this kind of world of imagination. It was a very Narnia-esque type of story. And I just thought, this is really cool. This is really beautiful. And I decided to write the story with my notebook that was supposed to be for Spanish exercises. But I skipped to the end, and I decided I was going to dedicate a few pages to trying to make this story come to life. And it really felt great when I was writing. It felt like, man, this picture I have in my head, it's finally coming to life. Unfortunately, it did not turn out well, but at least it was an attempt. I don't know what portion of this I'm supposed to read. It's not good. It's not a good story. I didn't write it well. I don't know what it was that caused me to snap at that moment. He'd been testing my patience since the beginning, so I truly don't know why I couldn't have held out even a little longer. His voice was more pleading than ever, and his whole body was trembling, but these things didn't seem to affect me. All of it gathered up inside me right then. My ruined plans, the uncomfortable way I was sitting, my brother's constant nagging persistence, all of it welled up in me and hardened around my heart like a brick wall. No, I gave my answer. His shock was almost palpable. Please, just one more time, please, please try again. His pleas fell on deaf ears. No, I stated again, more firmly this time, as I opened the door. I've had enough of your stupid games. I regretted the words as soon as I'd spoken them, but it was too late. There was no going back. I whirled around on my heel to respond to whatever plea was to come next, but I was met with none. I instead found an image I wasn't prepared for. My brother, crouched up against the back corner of the crawl space, with tears cutting tracks through the dust stains that now covered his cheeks. His eyes weren't begging anymore. They didn't implore me to get back into the darkness, nor to engage in the games that I, for some reason, found so detestable. They didn't tell me they needed me, or express any kind of longing. Now, those deep brown eyes, glimmering with tears ready to be cried and swollen with ones that already had, simply gazed up at me and asked, why? It made me angry. Angry because he could affect me that way. Angry that I felt accused. Angry because, above all, I didn't know why. Hardening my heart again, I slammed the crawl space door with as much force as I could and bolted from the room. I guess that's the least worst part of it. It's a little weird going back into that story. I mean, it was supposed to be the beginning of something much longer. But the more I wrote, the more I realized I had no idea what I was doing. Little pieces of inspiration had visited me. Some sentences that I had thought of seemed like they would be right for this story. But the full story, it just never came to me. And I stopped trying. I haven't added a single word to that story in over 10 years now. Nor do I really want to. it felt like there was so much creative energy that went into starting it, and it petered out so quickly. I mean, maybe a week or two of me adding little bits to the story every once in a while. And it brought me joy when I did it, but the more I did it, the less joy it brought me until I realized I don't think I want to do this anymore. And I didn't. And that's a story that'll never be told. And honestly, I don't think the world really needs it. I mean, you've already got Chronicles of Narnia. You don't need my knockoff version of it. I think as long as I didn't have much of a story to tell, the idea of not writing didn't really feel wrong or bad in any way. It felt like it was a person who didn't know how to write, not writing. That changed one night when I had a dream. Oh, brother. Who is this Robin McCormick person? Hasn't quite been 2 hours. You can see that with like the Brandenburg Quartet behind. I'd like it to maybe be a little slower, but it's probably fine on its own. Okay, is this done now? Yeah, that's done. That's still copying, which is good. We want it to still be copying. Well, that's still transferring. While it is transferring, why are you emailing me that I went live? I know I went live. It's so hard not to stomp on my seeds here. Oh, yeah. Where's the thing here? The video. Yes. 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 This is the one. The things I want to go in there. So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be starting off with that blinking cursor thing from whatever that movie was. So I'm start with that. Then there's going to be a voiceover of me talking about that blinking cursor and how it's really poignant and accurate because every like major work started off with a blank, like a blinking cursor or a blank page or whatever. The Odyssey started off that way. Harry Potter started off that way. Whatever. Is this the struggle? Yes, 16-2. How do we write what comes next? And then I think I want to talk about that quote from Word by Word, where it's that reminds me of the other thing. Describe what a writer sounds like, and then describe like try and match that thing from Daredevil. And then talk about how it never worked that way for me. And I don't really know how people do it. All artists, all writers who struggle with this, and yet most of them can still write. And I've never been able to. Maybe read my poem about weaving if I can find it. Weaving, that's what it was called. And then hopefully my sister is willing to. No, I'm not even going to ask her. Blah, 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 like writing and how difficult it was for me and how I've always wanted to write a book. But I didn't know how to get started. I don't know where the story is. NaNoWriMo, that's another good one to put in there. I don't even have. Okay. So I think right now where I'm in, the place where I'm at is like kind of, I just feel like I mean, you know, it's the creative process. Wait, what? Hello? Did this not work? Video truck. As I was laying in bed. Yeah, that works. 1 in the morning. This is scene 4. 4, take 1. Okay, now I'm going to do scene 3, take 2. Scene 3 is the structure. Scene 1. Oh, no. This is opening. This is scene 1. This is scene I take 1. This is scene I take 1. Now we need to go into the music. We need to know is the Oscars is only going to be going on for so long. Ah, here we go. Scene I. Scene I. Scene I. Take 1. There we go. The attempts. So I wanted to talk about the Ulysses, the Odyssey, the Hunger Games. Okay. Let's see how much battery is left here. I doubt it'll be very much. Still in the red, but you know, that's okay. We'll go right here. There we go. Woo! Oh, man. Okay. All right, video track going, audio track going, clap to sync. Just the idea of a blank page being the start of writing is, to me, a really important image, because every work ever started out with a blank page. The Odyssey was once a blank page. The Hunger Games was once a blank page. Harry Potter was once a blank page. Every book or story or poem you've ever read was once a blank page. But even though it's hard to fill that blank page, people have done it. People do it all the time. And I've never been able to do it, at least not recently. There was once a time, like we talked about, when even when I could write easily, I couldn't write well easily. I know that now. I didn't know it then, but I think that's part of what scares me. Knowing that there was a time when writing felt really easy and really fun and really creative and really inspired, and it produced these works that I'm now ashamed of. And I guess there's a big part of me that worries that if writing should ever become easy to me again, see now the camera's dead. Well, maybe I just change locations. Huh? Yeah, how about that? That's what we'll do. We'll plug her in, and then we'll just change locations. Yeah, that'll be good. So we're gonna reopen this, we're gonna reopen this. I did charge this thing, I swear I charged it. What is this nonsense? The video track could have given you my heart to hold between your hands for you. I didn't delete it. That was the problem. I didn't delete it. Okay, this I can delete because it cut off right. Is somebody else watching the stream, or is it still empty? I imagine it's probably still empty. No, yeah, still empty. I still can't believe somebody tuned in and actually said something. I mean, wow. Okay, let's just be sure here. Video track. Video track. Video track. Okay. That's good. We can delete it from here now. Okay. I think I'm gonna get down on the ground or something to try and film this next part. Or maybe I'll just film it with my phone. My phone has a pretty good camera. Step outside. I mean, the audio won't be as good, but... Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll grab some photo. Okay, I'm gonna grab some video of outside that I can use as backdrop for what's gonna come later. Oh, we don't have long, do we? Started at 4. Now 2. Yeah, no, it's still going on. Okay, that's good. Okay. Audio track. Let's turn it up a little, I think. Hello! Okay, video track. I don't remember exactly when I had this stream. It was several years ago. But I remember what it looked like. It wasn't really a normal dream. Usually, dreams for me are first person. But this one was like watching a film reel. A reel of somebody pointing the camera at clouds and hills and the sky and the sunset. And over the top of it, there was a voiceover. Oh, here's where I can stop the video because I'm looking. It was colorful, beautiful to look at. There were light leaks in the way you sometimes see with those old film cameras. And the voiceover was of a woman explaining her story. And their story went like this. She was one of a group of artificially created humans. They were grown in a lab without parents, and they were experiments. But they were treated well, and they behaved and acted just like normal children. Their childhood, even though it took place in a lab, was normal. They loved each other. They loved the scientists in the lab. And when they turned 6, they were released to the outside world to begin the next phase of the plan, which was to see how they would respond to life outside of the lab. This voiceover, although I don't remember the exact words, made it very clear. I don't remember the exact words of the voiceover, but I remember that it was made clear. No, I don't remember the exact words of the voiceover, but I do remember her talking about the struggle to rectify her own experience with that of the normal humans around her. She didn't know if the life she was living was the life being lived by her classmates and her adoptive parents and her friends. And that was the reason that whenever this group visited the lab again for checkups, it always felt like a family reunion. They loved each other. This one huge part of their identities bound them. But as they got older, they began to drift. Life took over, and they weren't as close as they once were. So, on one of their visits to the lab, they decided to plan a campout. They were going to go out into the world together and just be with one another in nature and reconnect. But as they were together, a storm rolled in. But on this camping trip, a storm rolled in. They were camping near a lake and they were swimming when the storm came in. But on this camping trip, disaster struck. They had been swimming in the lake when a storm rolled in. They had been swimming in a lake when a storm rolled in. It was strong, and they were fighting for their lives. One of them seemed like they were about to drown, and all of them had to work together to save this person. Afterwards, they started to experience glitches in time. Afterwards, it was hard, and it put a lot of strain on them, but they managed to save this person. Afterwards, though, all of them began to experience what they referred to as glitches, time skips, blackouts, memory loss. And when they visited the lab, they called up the scientists who had given them life. They called up the lab and asked what was going on, and they came in for a checkup together. That was when they discovered some difficult news. I don't remember the exact words the voiceover used, but I remember the person explaining the experience. I don't remember the exact words of the voiceover, but I remember her describing. I don't remember the exact words of the voiceover, but I remember the general consensus. I don't remember the exact words of the voiceover, but I remember her general descriptions of what the scientists had said. Because this was the part where the words became the clearest and the most beautiful in the entire dream. It's like we were clocks. We had been wound up at birth and had been ticking along ever since. Look at the AI recording. For me, this was the most crystal clear part of the dream. This was the part where I realized the idea of struggling to find humanity is such a beautiful concept, and the words are clearly there somewhere. And even though I have only this short little snippet of what I think this story should be, I know that it can be something great. But I do question why, if this story is so beautiful and needs to be told, why the inspiration came to me instead of to someone who can actually use it. Oh, man. This is scene 4, right? The dream? Yeah, scene 4. Oh, good, the Oscars is still going on. So again, after taking care of, I better send the movie clips over. Oh, I need to share this other stuff to it too. Oh, but I can share the pictures directly to Google Keep, can't I? Now we can try to download it. Oh, I remember now. Okay, we need to go to Keep, Google Keep. Yes. Here's that. And now we can delete this note. How long have I been going? 2 hours. Got a little under an hour left. Not very long. I really hope this thing is charged. Oh, I need to flip it this way. This way. There we go. Here we go. Ah, dang it. Okay. I don't generally look to my dreams as a source of inspiration for stories. Um, although I had one other time. I already told you about the time I was in Spain, and that dream came to me that I wrote a story about. But that was different. That was a dream about one short passage of a story. And it wasn't even very good in the dream, it just kind of seemed like a good idea. This was different. In this dream, the story came out fully formed. The words of the story were actually being told to me. And it was not the kind of story that I would usually write. This one was a strange blend between sci-fi and personal growth. It was almost A Wrinkle in Time-esque, but a little heavier on the sci-fi side, I guess. Okay, and then we'll cut into trying to describe the dream thing, and there we go. What was I saying in the other one? I don't really know where the story goes from there. I just know that this dream has stuck with me for such a long time. It feels like a really great story. What was the thing that... It was Toni Morrison who said, if there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written. It was Toni Morrison that said, if there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. It was Toni Morrison that said, if there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. Well, it's not that easy, Toni. Because what if after I write that book, it becomes a book that I don't want to read? In my unskilled and uninspired hands, in my unskilled and uninspired hands, in the in my unskilled and uninspired hands, what if that story that I want so badly to exist turns into something that doesn't inspire anyone? What if the feeling I had all throughout that dream, that this is something so powerful and so beautiful and so worthy of telling, what if none of that comes through? And that's the question that stopped me from writing this book. Oh, wait, I need to stop this. Oh, man. Export as MP3. The attempts, the dream, the commitment. Shoot. Mm. Audio track, video track. I have to talk quickly. Oh, whoops. This is supposed to be over here, and the setting is supposed to be on me. Okay, there we go. Honestly, just the image of a blank page in general is, to me, a really poignant one. Because every great work was once a blank page. The Odyssey was once a blank page. The Hunger Games was once a blank page. Harry Potter was once a blank page. Every story or poem or book you've ever read all started out as a blank page. And it's a big gap from that blank page to that finished story. And yet, so many writers have managed to leap that gap. And I can't. Right now, this is shaping up to be a lot worse than I remember. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to export it as an MP3. And then we're going to do, what is this? This is the struggle. So that's scene 2, take 2. I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then I'm going to record a voiceover about writer's block. Okay. So we're going to start with the voiceover, writer's block voiceover. This is going to be for scene 2. Okay. I'm going to switch to cardioid, or whatever it is. Writer's block, to me, feels like a bit of a misnomer. When you're trying to write, it doesn't feel like the words want to get out, but there's a block in the way. It feels like the words aren't even there. The ideas are, and the ideas are swimming around and around in my head, and I'm trying to grasp one of them and change it from an idea into a sentence, but it keeps evading my grasp. I start typing, and then I erase what I typed because it doesn't match the idea. And I just keep doing that until eventually I start typing and then erase what I typed because it doesn't feel right. And then I try again, and that doesn't feel right either. And then I change a couple of words, and then that feels a little bit better. And I finally have a sentence that is at least good enough that I can move on, but I have to go through that process every time. It's like these ideas are written in a language that I don't speak. I know that they're there. I can see them, I can envision them, I can understand them, but words can't bring them to life. At least not when I write them. It generally feels like it isn't really a question of inspiration. A lot of times the inspiration is there, but the skill isn't. I don't like that. I create a sentence, and it's oh, might be much. Good. Sometimes writer's block feels like a bit of a misnomer. The words aren't being blocked, they're just not there. The ideas are there, but they're not turning into words. Sometimes writer's block feels like the exact right word. Like there's a sentence or a word that seems like it's about to come together, but it doesn't. I type, I delete what I typed, I try again, I delete what I typed again, and then I sit there and I stare at that blinking cursor and that blank page, and I just will my ideas to form into sentences, and it just doesn't happen. And I don't know what to do to make it happen. So now we're going to record ourselves doing this. Okay, not bad. Be real. We've already exported it.
Sometimes writer's block feels like a bit of a misnomer.
That's right. So we can close that down. We only have like half an hour left, but it's okay because we're at the commitment point. Nobody watching. Good. Okay, well, let me just check. See if they're still good. I know the front's not good. So that's something. And then this one will also work. It doesn't. Huh.
That's really bad. At least the top left burner still works.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna try. Can we already?
Video track, we're gonna have to talk quickly.
Video track, I'm gonna have to talk quickly.
Video track, we're gonna have to talk quickly.
I did not eject it already. Let's eject it first. Okay. Hello? Well, that's not good. It is muted. Okay, there we go. Can you imagine what it's like to walk around with a story locked up inside of you? A story that feels so beautiful and so powerful, and that you know you can't let out because you're not going to be able to bring it to life in the same way that it is in your head. Honestly, you probably can't imagine because it's probably happened to you too. And it makes me wonder whether the answer isn't to just do it. To just not be afraid of creating something that sucks. Because at least I've created something. I think this cute little ghost creature thing that I found on TikTok, his name is Lenny. He put it best. Show the clip of Lenny. I've spent all of these years stomping on my seeds. I have this seed that I've been stomping on for all of these years. I have this seed that I've been stomping on for years because it just doesn't feel like it'll grow into anything beautiful. But what if once it's grown, it feels like I've spent years stomping on this seed that I have. If I let it grow and it turns into something ugly, something that doesn't match the picture of what I want it to be, will the magic of that story be ruined? I say that like there even is a story. Right now, it's just in my head. This is not good. We're going to try one more time. I feel like I've spent years stomping. You can't. I feel like I've spent years stomping on this seed that I have because I'm afraid that when it grows, I feel like I've spent years stomping on this seed because I'm afraid that if I let it grow, it'll turn into something that I hate. But it's not doing any good if it stays a seed. And maybe if I make something ugly and awful that doesn't at all match with my mental picture, I can at least be happy that I created something. And I can always try again. I guess that's the answer, but it's also easier said than done. So I'm going to make a commitment. Right now, on camera, I'm going to type the first sentence of that novel. And maybe I'll change it, maybe I won't, but at least I'll know that I started it. And I guess for now, that first step is enough. I didn't sync it up. Oh well. Still going on. That's good. Open up this other thing. And go to Canva, open screen record. No, that does still need to be on. I don't know if this is going to be the first step on a journey towards more writing. I don't know if this sentence is going to change anything. I don't know if this is going to be the start to me finally writing this story that's been in my head, in spite of all of that. I don't know if this is going to change anything. I don't know if this is going to be the first sentence of a novel that I will never write. I don't know if this is going to change anything. I don't know if I'm going to write one sentence and never touch this document again. I don't know if I'm going to finish the first chapter or the first couple of chapters. I don't know if this is going to change anything. I know what I hope it's going to do, but I don't know if I'm going to write this sentence and never bring myself to touch the document again. If I'm going to finish the first page or the first chapter, but not be able to move beyond that. I don't know if this is going to be the very beginning of what turns out to be an entire novel that no one likes, or an entire novel that people do like, or the only novel I ever write. But I know that it's something, and something is better than nothing. I should record this, the audio. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay, no faking. If this takes you 5 hours, then it takes you 5 hours. Why am I recording that? Stupid. Go away. God. Oops. Why is this thing showing? Go away. Oh, come on. What is going on right now? Stop. Stop! God. There it is. Okay, sync first. T, T, T. Delete, delete, delete. Oh, I gotta stop that. Okay, well, it's been 3 hours, and I think I did it. I don't really know. I have 1 week to edit this, and I don't know how it's going to turn out, but certainly it's not going to be everything I hoped it would be. But it's going to be something. And it'll be something that I made. So 1 week from today, next Sunday, I hope that you will watch the first video I've uploaded on this channel since I was in college. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. You go enjoy the Oscars, and I hope you see this. I hope you see me again soon. Bye-bye.